Together. Nicole, safe home. Thank you very much. You actually have young family members at home, so I'm with the what are you still doing up camp. It's really late where you are. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
And now to explain why we're in the bottle service area here at Caesar's Palace, Jacob Soboroff and Katie Tur have just come in off the road. Hallie Jackson, trying to get through Las Vegas traffic to join us, is probably going to be unsuccessful.
This is actually rush hour in Las Vegas.
I know. People are just getting up, starting the day. You're missing the best part of the day, as my mother used to say. You just heard, it was kind of chilling to hear, is this over?
I think this is over. I think this is over.
I've
been to these rallies in the South, and he gets these crowds like you're not seeing anywhere else.
People I keep mentioning Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama had 20,000+ people. 20,000+ people, and that was in August. Those are general election size crowds, and he was getting them, over a year before the election. He gets those crowds in Arkansas. He gets those crowds in Ohio. 10,000 in Ohio, where John Kasich is governor. He gets those crowds in Florida. He gets those crowds in Texas.
He gets big crowds in Vermont and Massachusetts.
He does.
In places, like there isn't a place in the country where he's not playing right now.
Absolutely, and I've said this over and over again, but he's one in the North, he's one in the South, he's one in the far West. He's cutting across all of the voting blocks. There isn't one voting block for Donald Trump. Ted Cruz is going after the evangelicals. Donald Trump is going after everybody.
So one of the things that we can see watching all his public events is we see how he is changing as a candidate, how he changes his message. Elise was talking earlier about how his message matures, and he's pretty agile with the way that he can sort of, target what he's talking about. Has his campaign actually matured as well? Meaning, have they grown and gotten stronger in a way that they're going to be able to handle the rigors of a general election if he is the nominee, which it looks like he will be?
They're going to have the benefit of the RNC behind them, and that could help them in a lot of ways, and it also could hurt them because he's been running this non-traditional campaign where he's not listening to anybody, he doesn't have any polling, he's not taking funding, and he goes with the pollster. I mean, he goes on social media to find out what his people are saying, or what the people are saying, and the RNC comes with baggage. I mean, they come with donors, and he's been running off a campaign that is self-funded, so we're going to see how that plays out. The campaign has certainly matured in the sense that they have a lot more control on their candidate, and they have more control over the media message. They have clamped down with everybody in the press. You can't get a word out of them most days on the simplest things, and this goes for all of the networks. What is your ground game like in Texas? No comment. I mean, they don't like talking about anything.
But they can't control their candidate entirely. We saw Jacob Soboroff get a Donald Trump interview.
You get to be at the user end of all this normally. You're where the rubber meets the road, where the ballots are cast, and tonight you got the candidate.
I've heard you, Katie, talk about how this man breaks, and you, Rachel, and you, Brian, everybody talk about how this man breaks every political rule in the book. Today, he literally broke the rules of the machinery of democracy. He showed up in the middle of an election. People literally left their ballots on the table, ran across the room to see the guy. Who knows if they went back and actually put the ballot in the box, but it's, to me, that's so emblematic of what's going on. I don't even know if they cared. People just wanted to see the guy. They wanted to touch him. They wanted to feel him. And I don't know what he wanted to do with that place because he was taking votes away from himself by showing up
One
there.
of the things that you reported right when we went to you, and it was so chaotic in that moment, we went to you just as you were realizing that he was walking in the door. It was so great. But what you had just said before that happened was Glenn Beck is here speaking on behalf of Ted Cruz.
Glenn Beck is, probably thought he was the biggest big shot in the room, and Donald Trump walks in the door. The other thing I think was the top line of the entire thing is that Donald Trump likes your charts on your show.
Yeah,
he said he loves your charts.
He said that as if she's toiling, and forgive me, in the graphics department by day.
You do make the graphics, right?
Oh, well, I don't like to brag, but, he just likes him because we put a picture on him instead of just a name. He just likes the picture. But, just to be clear, was Glenn Beck still actively giving his spiel for Ted Cruz when Trump walked in and...
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Because I don't know what happened. I didn't see. Everybody basically hears Glenn Beck, and everybody just goes, there's Donald Trump. And I think Glenn Beck was sort of one of these kind of moments, I think, for Glenn Beck tonight.
Wow. He was already calling on people to fast
Yeah.
For Ted Cruz. He also said that God killed Antonin Scalia in order to make Ted Cruz Supreme Court Justice. I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine what this is going to do to his worldview.
But look what happened tonight. Today, the Republicans on the Judiciary Committee all signed a letter saying we want the next president to choose the next Supreme Court
It's a big
justice.
story today that we didn't
Tomorrow
talk about
morning in Washington,
Are
what
they still
that
gonna feel
means
that way?
from their perspective is we are saying we want Donald Trump to choose the next Supreme Court justice, and that can become a really important, much more important issue than you'd normally expect it to be.
I wonder if
in
they'll
this
still feel
campaign.
that way though tomorrow morning.
In pure partisan terms, they would rather have Republican President Donald Trump pick somebody, even if they hate Donald Trump and can't imagine him as their standard bearer. In pure partisan terms, they'd rather that than have this president pick somebody.
Elise, let's talk home states before we go. And I feel bad about the Florida thing earlier tonight. I'm giving you a free pass. So we have two home states coming up, Florida and Texas. And we have a juggernaut of a Trump campaign. Any last requests on your part?
I still think Cruz is going to come out ahead in Texas.
Florida, though.
Florida for Rubio is just not looking very good. They absolutely have to have Florida if they're going anywhere, and it's part of their March 15th, let's win these 3 of the winner-take-all states and rack up a bunch of delegates quickly. Unfortunately, they've got a long way to go if they're going to make that actually happen.
But there's still plenty of reasons to hang in here. There's a lot of proportional states coming up, and look, Rubio picked up delegates tonight. So did Cruz pick up delegates.
Right.
Trump's maybe going to pick up 15 if he gets all the way up to 50% here. But the other guys are picking up delegates, and they're not going to. Why would they give this up if they believe, if it still looks like they could actually drive this thing all the way to the convention and deny Trump the number of delegates he needs going into the convention? Why wouldn't they take it into the convention if they could?
A couple of things before we go. Number one, about what becomes our portable workplace on the road on this unseasonably cold night in the middle of the Strip in Las Vegas. It may not matter much to the folks at home, but it matters greatly to us that at noon today, this was just a porch where people hung out. None of this was here. We made television tonight thanks in large part to our incredible folks who fly from Long Island City, New York, and arrive here like an invading electronic coffee-fueled army. And